Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We are just one day out from the 2023 $1 million The Race by Grins, New Zealand's only slot race. The excitement is palpable and the stakes have never been higher. The defending champion.
Self-assured, the champ has already proven himself on this exact stage this time last year, winning the very first The Race by Grins for SENZ. But no doubt, he has one eye on his old mate.
Copy that, the New Zealand pacing champion who missed out on last year's race, and he's looking to make up for lost time with New Zealand's best reinsman, Blair Nathan Orange.
And he's done it!
And let's not forget about
Old Town Road, Akuta and BD Joe. These young guns try to go from the hunter to the hunted. Once again, the Aussies have set their sights on Cambridge with 2 Group 1 winners.
Better Eclipse and Triple Eight. They're horses that will be driven by the champions of our sport, and mark my words, the Kiwis will know we are here.
And we cannot forget about the only female in the race, no matter what, who absolutely ran her rivals into the ground in the Group 1 New Zealand Oaks.
It's been daring from Olivia Thornley, but she's pulled it off.
If Kango and Nicolas Cage do the unthinkable, Cambridge better brace itself for a party that could last until the 2024 running of the race. The slots are full, the talking's done. It's time to find your second winner of the $1 million Race by Grins.
What a way to get the blood pumping this morning. Very good morning and welcome into the preview for the Race by Grins. We are a day out from the big race out of Cambridge Raceway, and I'm joined by harness racing expert and Craig Thompson to preview the race. Can't wait for the race, Well.
Yeah, BP, good morning, everyone. Really looking forward to it. Congratulations to the club, first of all, BP. I mean, it's a bigger and better version. And when I say a bigger and better version, we've got more money. We've got $1 million to race for. The better version about it is, I think, the quality of the field. New Zealand Cup winner. We've got Chariots of Fire winner. Derby winner, Jules winner, multiple Group 1 winners. She's a lot to analyse in the next 60 minutes, BP.
There's a lot to break down, that is for sure. Let's have a look what's coming up on the Race by Grins preview show. And first of all, we'll be getting to Cambridge Raceway, Craig, to catch up with David Branch.
Well, he's had such a big influence in what they've got to this $1 million race, and I'm really looking forward to get his comments with Nicole Sims.
Also joining us here in the studio will be Zachary Butcher.
Well, he's a key driver. He's on the second favourite, Nice Draw. We'll try and get as much information as we can, BP, but don't hold your breath.
Will he be holding? Will he be leading? Dexter Dunn from New York.
Well, he's a guy that's driven 6 Group 1 winners on this track, and I'd love to get Dexter on and just analyse how he sees this field.
Also, throughout the show, we'll be catching up with Anna Donnelly.
Well, local runner, hindered by a bad draw, Barry 8, but they're in the race, BP. They get their chance, and Nicole will talk to her.
A great local chance hitters for sure. Also, we'll be catching up with Steve Telfer to find out the latest around BD Joe.
Well, he's the influence in the race, isn't he, BD Joe? And great to have Steve on here. Obviously, had former Triple Eight runner in the stable as well, and he's the influence in the race with speed-wise. So we'll get his thoughts on where BD Joe end up.
Another local too, and that is Andrew and Lynn Neal with, of course, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, hindered by 1 the second row, following out no matter what, but great to have him in the race. He's probably 12 months away, but we'll get Andrew's thoughts on his runner.
And we've got the Australian angle with Greg Sugars in the studio.
Well, this is what I'm really looking forward to, having Greg in here. They've got 2 in the race. Better Eclipse's Sunshine Sprint winner. He had so much interest. We had Magnetic Cruiser last year, Majestic Cruiser running second. Can they go one better this year?
All right, that's what's coming up here on the show. Let's have a look at the market now, Craig. And I guess the key thing around this market is Old Town Road and Copy That. They were always going to be short enough in the market. Everything was at $4 in terms of the 4 favourite runners. Yep. They've drawn well. And there's been some money for Akuta, probably because the price was a touch of an over.
Well, it was. I think there was a couple of things here. One was 20% unders, one was 20% overs. So when I say unders, I think Old Town Road at $3. Its race price is around about $3.84. And Akuta's $11, I reckon, was overs. And the people that didn't want to play into the favourites, they were thinking probably $8 the right price. So there's your 20% difference.
All right, speed map. This is the key part of the race, well, isn't it? Because we've got 3 runners that are in a prime position. I just want to know, first of all, winners and losers. We know that the 3 and the 4 Old Town Road and Copy That have drawn well to put themselves in the race. What other winners are there off the barrier draw in terms of gate speed?
Well, I think the big one is obviously Old Town Road, because it'll get across no matter what, and we'll touch with Zach on that. Copy That perfectly drawn for it to go forward and try and dominate the race from in front. Not the losers out of the draw, but I think Self Assured's draw is actually a good draw, BP. And the reason I say that, I'll put it to you. Had he drawn where Triple Triple Eight drew, which is barrier 4. He wouldn't have got across the other two inside him anyway, and he's forced to use his gate speed. Now he just follows a helmet. I actually don't think it's a bad draw. I think it's actually a good draw.
What does BD Joe apply to this race?
Well, he's your speed influence. He's a horse that goes forward. He's a horse that I think will have to go forward because he can't go back. And he is very quick early. It's going to be fireworks for the first 200 metres.
All right, let's have a look at what's happened with the marketplace in terms of the big bets and what's been rolling in. Now, well, this is the futures bets that we've seen first of all. And look, a couple of notable ones here. Obviously, a lot of Nicolas Cage investments hoping for a barrier draw, and a couple of others, KZ, copy that, and Self-Assured.
I reckon the Nicolas Cage bets were before the Founders Cup, where he won that race, and he beat copy that. That was a short distance race, 1700. Things have kind of not worked out well with him with the barrier draw, so he's drifted in the market. Copy that was always going to be well spec, 2-time New Zealand Cup winner. Self-Assured, as I said, the barrier draw wasn't crucial for him, so he's always going to be well back. You got to remember BP. He won this race from 8 last year. He won from a mile last week from barrier 8 as well. So a lot of confidence there. Akuta, who we'll see on the second page, also very well spec'd.
All right, let's have a look at what's happened since the barrier draw in terms of markets and what's been happening. And this is what we've seen final field-wise. And the attraction is certainly around what's happened around Akuta.
Well, I think what people are analysing is that Akuta will be just on the back of Self-Assured for the entire race. So everywhere that Natalie goes, Mark will be following. And that's not a bad place to be, BP. $11 was overs, right price around $7. Self-Assured, 1,000 at $4.50. He's a great horse. He's a New Zealand Cup winner, and he's right in the mix.
All right, there's a lot happening around the race in terms of what we can bet into, not just the stock standard as we always see in these type of big races. So what have we got available, Craig?
Well, there's plenty. I mean, the power plays is obviously, the DIY power plays is always very popular. We've obviously got first fours, $10,000 first fours as well. The early crow, that's there at the moment as well, BP. Futures markets, obviously we've got not only the first fours, but we've got a $50,000 terminating pick 6. Really looking forward to what they're offering, BP, and just go to tab.co.nz and scroll down to what the extra markets are.
Yeah, and you've got things like early crow market.
Yep.
That's always a popular one, isn't it? And this one is...
Well, last year was McDan. No one thought McDan was your leader, and he was rough in the early crow. Now, this year it looks pretty formulaic with 3 horses getting off the gate, and I think $250 apiece for Old Town Road, and copy that. All
right, so you've got those $10,000 first fours throughout the 9 here is that early crow market. Is BD Joe a chance here then at the $750 if we were talking about that gate speed? You just got to get the nose in front. Yep. Don't have to be down on the pegs. Yeah,
as I said last year, McDan was not thought of as being the early leader, and he never got across them. But at the winning post, it just matters whose head's in front at that point. I think there's 3 horses that will come out. I think Old Town Road will hold up initially. Copy that will be on his outside, and BD Joe will be doing his very best to try and get across both of them. So they're your 3 in the Old Town, in the early crow. Here's your roughies race. The bottom 5, 888, no matter what. Better Eclipse, Kango and Nicolas Cage. All the roughies, if you want to play into that market, BP, something to look into. Obviously, All Stars versus the rest. And the winning time, 2:37 last year. Will they go slower or faster? You can see there, $250 apiece at the bottom of the page.
All right, well, that's a look at all the feature markets and what we can bet into away from your stock standard win in place, etc., and first fours. Right, it's time to get to Cambridge Raceway, and standing by for us this morning is Nicole Sims. A very good morning to you, Nicole. You're with David Branch.
I sure am. Good morning to you, Brendan, and to Whale. Great to be part of the show here, and wonderful to be catching up with the locals as well on what is going to be a massive day here at Cambridge Raceway tomorrow. Standing by here with Dave Branch. Dave, the weather this morning a little foggy, but gee, it's clearing up nice now.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a few nervous moments earlier in the week watching the weather reports, refreshing the app, but by all accounts we're in for a good night, which is great.
Where are we sitting at in terms of ticket sales? For those that may have left things till the last minute, where are we at with that?
Yeah, so we're on our 3rd and final release. We're expecting to have probably limited gate sales, but we'd recommend people get in early. It is going to be a full house, and yeah, really excited about that.
Tell me, you've been so busy, you and the whole team. What goes on to prepare for a meeting like this? Have you had time to sort of get excited, or has it just been all go?
Just been all go, to be fair. We'll probably get excited tomorrow night after the race, and yeah, it's a massive, massive team effort. You know, all the helpers, all my crew's family are here working late at night, stocking fridges and sweeping and cleaning windows and everything. So a massive, massive team effort, and something we're all really proud about.
And something you should be really proud about is the sweepstake, generating so much of a buzz, just getting so many people involved. I'm sure there's some great stories coming out of it.
Yeah, definitely. We heard earlier in the week Wayne Keegan, who drew copy that. So he, not a regular race goer, but was up at the clubhouse here at a meeting a few weeks back. One of the girls sold him a ticket and he's drawn copy that. And, for someone that doesn't follow harness racing to be able to get so involved and I guess obviously have a chance of winning 50,000. But that's what it's all about, introducing those people and letting other people share in the thrill of the race.
Absolutely, and so obviously it's all go, we're all set, we're on track, and we're wishing you and all the team all the best for tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks very much. We can't wait. It's going to be a great night.
It certainly is going to be a great night. Luckily enough, we've got some locals keen to get involved here today. Will be great to catch up with Anna Donnelly and also Andrew and Lynn Neal, so stay tuned. We'll catch up with them throughout the show.
Nice one, thank you for that, Nicole. And yes, we'll be back with you very shortly to get a bit more of a lowdown around what's happening with some of the locals. And of course, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to preview some key runners and we're going to catch up with Zachary Butcher.
Aaron, your 20th year of calling at Cambridge Race. What have you noticed the difference in the 20 years since you started calling?
Well, it's the tactics the drivers are using now, Craig, especially through the dual series that we've had here at Cambridge Raceway. I believe the drivers are really starting to drive this track well, and we see that with the times that produced down here. In the winter time, we've got horses going 2:41 down here at Cambridge, so the tactics have certainly changed in those 20 years, but still a great place to be, to watch racing. You're really close to the horses here. Even in the commentary box, it feels like you can touch the horses out on the track. You come along on race night or race day, hang over the fence, you'll pat the clerk of the course's horse there, and you can see the best of the best and they're arm's length away.
What did you learn from last year? I mean, it's like a crescendo. You build yourself up to the night. How do you prepare?
It's like any other race, Craig. You just got to take it as it comes on the night. I try not to have too much prepared for a night like that, like I did last year. It was quite a great night last year. But when we get the Australians in these races, it just makes it a different perspective on the race, because the Aussies, they don't like to sit back, Craig. They get into the race, they make it a decent race, and the Race by Grins this year, it's going to be no different.
Old Town Road, the son of Better's Delight, he's going to open right up here. Old Town Road, this is what we knew about this horse. He is very, very good. Old Town Road blows them away. Oh boy, it was a very good debut. What an arrogant win tonight.
Yeah, key chance in the race, that is for sure, in Old Town Road, and we're lucky to have Zach Butcher joining us in the studio to talk about this horse's chances in the race. Thanks for joining us, Zach, and yes, you're drawn well and you've got yourself a live chance in $1 million race.
Oh, I couldn't be more excited. I remember watching the race last year and I was pretty angry I wasn't out there, so to be out there this year, yeah, fingers crossed everything goes well for us.
I know you've got it plan A, plan B and plan C, but let's talk about plan A. First of all, get across barrier 1. What's your chances?
Yeah, I like my chances. Obviously, it is a bit of a step up for no matter what. It's a different kettle of fish, those big boys. So, like my chances of crossing early, and like you said, plan B, C, D and E after that, but no one knows that.
Yeah, plan B, C and D is not to tell the press. But anyway, I'll press on with that. Last week I noticed when he was round at the start, he got a little bit worked up. He's travelled across the Tasman now. Mentally, do you found he's a better horse now? The travelling was always an issue with him. Does he feel like he's a bit of a stronger and he's more mentally prepared for the race on Friday?
Yeah, definitely. He seems to get better and better with every run. You're dead right. He does get himself a little bit worked up. My biggest worry is probably the crowd. She's going to be a big old crowd. There's going to be a lot of noise. So hopefully he takes it all in his stride and handles himself well. Yeah, I know it's a big occasion for you, but also a big occasion for John. And Josh, he's a mate of yours for a long time. You grew up together. You've been in the driving ranks for a long time. He'll be on track tomorrow. Part owner of it. What would it mean to you to win a race for these two? Just a big thrill to be involved in this whole setup and be able to drive it for Josh and John. Obviously great friends, and to win that, I tell you what, I'll be jumping out of that car and giving them a big hug and a kiss, I reckon. This is last week in the Flying Stakes, the drone footage. You drew barrier 5. You poked out pretty good here, Zach. I thought you had Chimichurri and Simply Sam to your inside. But you actually put half a length off them off the gate here, and they kicked up, and obviously you got back in at the bell.
Were you happy with the position that you got off the gate? And first of all, did he show the gate speed that you need to use that draw from barrier number 2?
Definitely did, like you said. I put a half length on them out the gate, and obviously once you hit that first bend around Cambridge, they whip up the inside, and it's pretty hard. So he showed me enough, you know, that we'll be able to cross early and put ourselves in a prominent position.
Copy that's drawn to your immediate outside. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of pressure in the race. As we see here, you've got into a spot where you're 1 out, 1 back, but that first quarter was 26.4, Zach. So they have burned. They were coming up for air, and at that point, Mark was about to come, Blair was about to come. You were pretty well forced to come out of that spot and get in front of them.
Yeah, you know, when I went back and watched this race, like you say, I actually didn't know that first quarter was 26.4. That's low flying.
Yeah.
So to burn that hard early, to come out again down the back and go again. Obviously, I took a trail about the 400, and then to run up the straight, to finish as close as he did, yeah, watching this again, you've got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, when you look at the drone footage, it just shows you how the pressure was on. At that point, Copy that got to you and went past you, and you probably thought, listen, I can have a bit of a breather on his back and try and get him up the lane again. Initially, when you got to the lane and you got inside Copy that, was there a brief moment you thought, might have this one?
Yeah, 100%. You know, those 3 that beat me, they didn't really do as much work as I did early. We hit that lane, I dashed in there for about 50 metres and thought I was going to give them a real scare. As it happened, we didn't. But like we said in previous interviews, I think you'll see a better Old Town Road.
What's John told you this week in the fact that, listen, he's bounced off that run, he's brighter, he seems fitter, you know, you've had a couple of runs back, you've got him 100% right for the day?
Yeah, he's great. He just hands me the reins and says good luck. He does all the hard work at home and I get the easy job at the races. So I'm picking that's what'll happen, and we just got to hope things go our way.
All the best, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, we have got Dexter Dunn standing by, Craig, and we're pretty lucky to be able to have a champion driver like Dexter Dunn joining us to talk about maybe about the race and maybe a few other things with Zachary as well.
Well, it's fantastic to have him. He's a 6-time winner at Cambridge, Group 1 winner, and first of all, Dex, welcome to Trackside. Firstly, congratulations on another wonderful season. I think you drove over 300 winners again. Cambridge is a track that you like so well. Just give us a little bit of insight in Cambridge. Say, driving Cambridge versus Addington, which is a 1,200 metre track. What do you need to have in your arsenal to win a race like the $1 million race at Cambridge?
Hey guys, how we doing? Well, I'd say first things first, horsepower. It's a big help always in a big race. But, you know, Cambridge and Addington are a little different tracks, but I think like any race on any size track, it can be tempo related. So, you know, I think, you know, one of my wins at Cambridge was in the Jules with Franco Nelson. He drew a terrible post. I think he was for the second line over the mile there, and never on the track, wide the last turn, come from a long way back. So, you know, it all depends on how the race can be run, and the tempo of the race always plays a big factor in that.
Yeah, it's a track where it is very much tempo related. Zach, you're a good mate. You got a couple of questions to ask him and find out what he thinks would evolve in this race?
2 questions, Dexter. First one is, this is my first $1 million race, mate. You've probably driven in a few. What would be your #1 tip?
Do better than I have in them and win it, Zachary, I'd say.
Well, I'm going to put that on the not what to do list, because I was hoping you were going to say, smoke them off the gate and don't look back.
Well, I'd say you'd be really happy with your draw, mate, because, you know, it's going to be set up. It looks like you should get your chance. You know, don't overthink it too much and make sure you go into it nice and relaxed and have that horse in the right position. So, you know, it's obviously it's easy to sit there and say, you know, stay calm, stay relaxed, but you are racing for $1 million and it's a big deal. So I'm sure you've driven enough big races yourself, mate, that you'll be just fine.
Thank you, Dex.
Hey, Dex, if you were looking at the field, I know you do your New Zealand form, you follow your family very much from over there. If you were to have a drive in this race and you've analysed the field and the 10 runners are in this race, what would be the one horse you'd like to drive?
That's a good question. There's a few in there I'd like to drive. I think there's nothing wrong with Zachary's drive he's got in there. Obviously, copy that. I heard you guys talking, or the media talking about him, that he'd be improved from his last start, and obviously his record speaks for himself with his New Zealand Cup performances. And then obviously Self Assured was a wicked run last start, so you know, and a great horse himself. So yeah, there's a few chances in there. If I had to pick one out, it's a good question. Zachary's a good mate. Go with his one.
Too easy. All right. Hey, thanks for that, Dexter. Enjoy your time. And
by the way, we didn't message to say get matching tops on for this show. By the way, it was just a fluke.
And he's got matching car as well, Dex. All right, nice one. Thanks for that, mate. We'll catch up soon. That's Dexter Dunn giving us all the latest out of New York. And of course, we'll take a quick break here on the Race by Grins preview. And very shortly, we'll be catching up with Ray Green.
Well, we're here at Lincoln Farms with Ray Green. Wonderful to see you as we build into the race. Exciting times for you and the team, no doubt.
Yeah, we got the good draw and everything's going according to plan.
He seems to have come back in fine fettle. Obviously, there's been a few niggles. It's been a bit of a journey for him, the horse, over the last year or so, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had our moments, and but racing at that level has its wear and tear, if you like. Yeah, so keeping them sound and that's a major issue, really. It's something you need to focus on every day, really.
Is he showing you at the moment he's in the same sort of form that we saw him in winning his second Cup in November?
I think so. I think he's certainly not gone back. He's holding his own, yeah.
It seems that he's giving Blair quite a buzz as well. That's what I noticed on course, just how excited he was leading into the race with Copy That.
Yeah, Blair's pretty keen to drive him when on race day. He's pretty keen to get here. The last thing he said to me was just get me a draw. So hopefully that one will do him.
And a horse like Copy That, the journey that you and him have been on, it's been quite remarkable, hasn't it? I was just saying to you off camera earlier, that time that you were both stuck in Australia. Talk me through that bond you have. Obviously, it's only got stronger over the last year or so.
He's been a big part of my life over the last 3 years. So, him and I understand each other pretty well. So, yeah, I'll be sad when he's gone, but hopefully not for a while.
Quite a journey you've been on, and it would be an amazing feat to win the race, wouldn't it?
It has certainly helped the balance of payments, but you win some, you lose some, and luck's the name of the game, isn't it? If we win, great. If we don't, we won't slit our wrists over it, so we just move on to the next one.
It's Pembroke Playboy and Kango from the Cooter through the middle, All-American Lover. Kango's rallying. On the inside, Pembroke Playboy, but it's Kango's Kaikota Cup. David Butcher and Anna Donnelly beats Pembroke Playboy and Dakota.
Yeah, great chance for the locals is this runner Kango and also Nicholas Cage. We'll hear from the team around Nicholas Cage shortly because, Nicole, we're going to get back to you. You're standing by with Anna Donnelly.
I sure am, Brendan, and how wonderful for the Cambridge locals to be so heavily involved in the race this year. I know yourself as being a Cambridge local, you must be buzzing about that, Brendan. As we come across and introduce Anna Donnelly, Kango's trainer. Anna, so much buzz about this race, and it just must be such exciting times for you and your whole team.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's a big family affair. We've got a big crew behind us, and yeah, it's really it's good to be here on our home track. And yeah, special thanks to Dunstan for securing our slot, and very happy to be here.
Talk me through his preparation, because he's coming into this really, really nicely placed, isn't he? And he's done such a good job for you and the team as a whole. How's his work been in the last week?
Yeah, really good, Nicole. His coat's turned, he's looking super. It's a bit of a shame about our draw out there, but hey, look, got the right man in the bike, and I'm sure he'll do a good job from there for us.
Yeah, the right man, of course, being David Butcher, the king of Cambridge pretty much in the driving ranks around here. And he just has such an affinity with this horse, doesn't he?
Yeah, they get on like a house on fire, and I wouldn't want anyone else sitting behind him, to be fair. So, yeah, he's going to need a bit of luck, and hopefully he can work some of his magic for us.
Well, you mentioned it's a real local affair and also a local affair for his owner and breeder. We're going to welcome in to the trackside coverage here, Bruce Brodie. Bruce, wonderful times for you and the team. Firstly, talk me through your journey with this horse, Kango.
Pardon?
Talk me through your journey. How did you go about breeding him?
Oh, we bred him, yeah. I always liked American Ideals. Ever since the Orange Agent won races as a 2-year-old. And the mare's had 5 colts now. And we've got a full brother to him at home that's 5 months old. And they've all won races. Well, the 4th one hasn't raced yet, but the other 3 have won races, yeah.
Being a local yourself, how are you and your family and friends going to be celebrating the night tonight? Are they all tomorrow night? Are they all coming?
Oh, yes, they're coming over, yeah. Yeah, we don't celebrate too much, no. Pretty quiet.
But exciting times being in the race, right, for the locals?
It's exciting owning a horse like him. We could have sold him a dozen times, but money hasn't given my family the enjoyment they've had out of him, and are still getting out of him, yeah.
Well, all the best, team. And yeah, Brendan, that's the stories you want to see, isn't it? It's all about the local involvement and just the passion that people have for their horses. So we wish Anna Donnelly and the team around Kango all the best.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for that, Nicole, and we'll get back to you a little bit later on through the show. But we do have BD Joe's co-trainer joining us now in the studio, and Steve Telfer. Very good morning to you, Steve. I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. BD Joe's drawn well. Is he leading?
Well,
Is he coming off the gate?
Yeah, no, he's coming off the gate. No, he's a horse that we've always come off the gate with. Didn't last week from the bad draw, but it was his first run for 5 weeks, and that short run to the first bend. But no, he's a horse we like to see on the pace, and myself and the owners like to see him up in the race. So he'll be coming off as fast as he can.
He's a horse that it led in the Jewels. You drew barrier 1 that day and you had Krug on your back and you were good enough to stay in front and win that race. So we know we can do that. He did that at Ashburton. Yeah. That was a stand, but it didn't matter. He found the front and he dominated in front. What is your gut feeling telling you? I mean, you've got 888 between you. Yep. You're drawn barrier 4 now, or 5. Can he get across at the start? I mean, in your experience, is he a half a chance to get across at the start?
Oh, look, I give him half a chance to get across. He's, you haven't really used him for a long time off the gate, but I think you're a chance to get across. He's he's always shown good gate speed in the past, and especially in that first 50 out of the gate, and that's the first 100 will be crucial to how fast we can get out.
Well, I think it is crucial. I mean, the maidens run their first 600 metres and they lead up in 40.8 the other night. So if you're going under 42, you're going reasonable. I think he's a horse that you roll the dice early, you see what unfolds, and then you take plan B, plan C, plan D after that. Yeah. Is he in the same form that when he was the Ashburton Stakes Flying Stakes winner and the Grand Prix winner? Yeah. Is he in that form leading into Friday?
Yeah, look, been very happy with him all season. He went to Sydney and he was a little unlucky in a couple of races, but he actually raced well. He seemed well. He came back, we gave him a little freshen up. And I was really happy going into last week's race, but I was disappointed with his run. I thought he should have finished close with him when he followed them in. Look, we've had a few buds done, during the week, and it was just a wee bit slight area concern there, which we've fixed up. And he's he had a little bit of work this morning before I left to come in and talk to you guys, and he seems very bright and well. So I'm happy with him, mate.
We've just seen that Ashburton Flying Stakes coverage. I mean, the race at Addington where he won, he came from back in the field. He run past Self Assured in the run home. Would have given you immense pleasure that he's not just a one-trick pony. He can do it from other ends of the field. No,
look, he's very adaptable. He's a horse that he has got gate speed, but he's got high speed saved up for a run too. So the fear around Cambridge is that if you go back from that barrier and give those horses a start, it's very hard to get into it. So Cambridge is predominantly a leaders. You like to be on the pace at Cambridge, so that'll be our first objective, trying to get forward and find a good position. If it's fast enough to lead, that's great. If not, hopefully we can get into a nice position handy.
What did you do since Thursday night? You said you gave him a little bit of a light jog this morning. Did you give him a little bit of a more searching run on the weekend, or just give him a quiet time? Yeah, no. We it was 8 days between the run, and it was only a mile last week. So that was, like I said, that was his first run since Sydney. And he worked a good 1.5 miles on Tuesday. And we ran him up a bit, and he was good. He was good.
Yeah, no, he was good. He was really good. So, like I said, the blood showed he was. There wasn't anything major, but just a little areas we could improve on, and we think we've done that. We'll just, he had a quiet. He worked a quiet mile and a half this morning. We just give him a little bit more, and he was right up on the bridle and feeling really well.
Great to have an old veteran in your stable, a horse you know very well in 888. I mean, he was in your stable for a long time. He's a Group 1 winner now. Must have mixed feelings having the old boy back in the stable.
Yeah. No, look, he, I think he's shown Greg around the track out home. He's been around there. He's been around there quite a bit. But he's been a lovely horse. He was great to us when we were here, and Greg and Jess have done a great job with him over in Australia. So it's great to see him win that Group 1 over there, and he's performed in the highest level. And really pleased for Greg, Jess and the owners, who are big supporters of ours as well.
It's a huge operation, Stonewall Stud, with Amanda and Hayden and yourself. I mean, you're working, 25 in the north, 25 in the south, 50 in the north. That's 75 horses, Steve. Yep. I mean, I'm sure with all these yearlings that you buy, your main goal is to get a horse into a race like this for $1 million in probably 3 to 4 years' time.
Yeah, exactly right. You're buying them to race in these big races throughout the season, and this is one of the biggest. So we're just thrilled to have a good horse that's capable, and with the right run on the day, he's more than capable of taking it out, and our slot partners in Tane, and really happy to be racing with them.
BP, he's a major influence on the race. Steve Telfer, Hayden and Amanda do a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to seeing BD Joe fire off the gate from Barrier 5.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Steve. Great to have you in the studio joining us to just get that insight around BD Joe, and maybe just one of those horses. If you're looking for that DIY power play option, include BD Joe. They go for a top 6 option. I think he might be a nice little play there in amongst those favoured options. Of course, we're going to have an Australian perspective very shortly with Greg Sugars joining us. But let's relive last week, the Flying Mile.
Not too far away. 2023 Dunstan Horse Feed Group 2 Waikato Flying Mile. Great horses have won this race over the years. Down they go. Green lights up, the Dunstan Horse Feed Waikato Flying Mile, Field Go, Chimichurri, Simply Sam out strongly. Up Old Town Road's found a beautiful gun run in the 1-1 here. Well back in the field was Copy That. Self Assured is back second last. The race is on. The Race By Grins might be in 8 days, but in the Waikato Flying Mile, the favourites for the Race By Grins are all rising to the top here.
It was just a beautiful run for him since he didn't really get that run last week. Good economical trip, hit the line good, and it wasn't a gut buster, so yeah, just really pleased.
Self-Assured grinding away strongly. Copy That. Self-Assured Old Town Road and Akuta. Self-Assured goes to Copy That. The inaugural winner of the Race By Grins. Boy, has he put his head in the ring to go back to back. That has been simply superb.
I mean, he's not getting any younger, but he hasn't lost any of his ability or speed, actually.
Yeah, I think there's probably 4 or 5 real serious chances there, and I think a lot will come down to the draw.
I think he's just such an all-rounder. Like, he can make his own luck. He's got that little bit of gate speed. He's quick, he's tough, he's got a bit of everything. So, and he's such a lovely horse to drive. You can really position him anywhere.
Hi, Rozzo here. Not so self-assured when it comes to tipping out harness winners, but I'm going with self-assured this Friday in the Race by Grins.
My pick for the Race by Grins has got to be Copy That. He's come up with a perfect draw. He's got the right man in the bike, and I'm now a Pukekohe local, so hopefully Ray Green can get the job done, and I'll be grinning after the race.
Hey, Justin Evans here, really excited for the Race by Grins at Cambridge Raceway. It's going to be a great race, and for me, he's going to go back-to-back. Self-Assured, Natalie in the bike. He was so good last year. He was so good in his lead-up. I think the second line draw is actually going to pan out okay. So much confidence with Nat. I think she'll be the one doing the grinning at the end of the Race by Grins. Go Self-Assured.
I really do like Copy That. I'm a big Copy That fan going into the Race by Grins this year. I really like him. Now, Old Town Road, I've always been a fan of Old Town Road, and Wiley John Dickey, I think, just had that perfect plan Don't worry about any other race. We've got $1 million target. Jay Dickey will be looking at that, and I'm pretty sure Old Town Road will be charging home as well. So go the Kiwi Quinella, copy that in Old Town Road.
Well, my tip for the second edition of the Race by Grins is a Cooter. We've already seen him dazzle Cambridge Raceway in his 2-year-old season in that seen-to-be-believed performance in the 2-year-old Emerald. So he's my top tip. He's had a really good end of last season, of course, with the 4th in the New Zealand Cup and the sizzling New Zealand Derby win. And his hit out last week in the Waikato Flying Mile was excellent in preparation for this. So that's my tip in the Race by Grins, a Cooter.
Welcome back into the Race by Grins preview show here, and we're about to talk more of an Australian perspective now, because we have got Greg Sugars joining us in the studio. And gee, the team there, maybe we're disrespecting the Aussies a little bit because none of them have picked them, but let's talk about the Australian horses first of all, and your drive in the race, and that being, of course, Better Eclipse.
Yeah, look, he's obviously a wonderful, talented horse, and has had a great, last probably 12 or 18 months with us, and sort of really come of age as a 4-year-old, and was a multiple Group 1 winner, winning the Chariots of Fire and Sunshine Sprint up in Queensland. So very talented horse, and we're very happy with the form he's in, and hence why we've made the trip across.
I think the barrier draw when you saw 7, for those who don't know him in New Zealand, and a lot of us hasn't seen him live, they see him obviously through trackside, but what is his forte? Is he a hard-going horse? Can he come off the gate, or is he more better following a helmet? I suppose the barrier draw plays part of that, but is his best races coming from off the speed?
Yeah, I think so. He's not a one-trick pony. He is quite versatile, but he's not brilliant off the gate, can hold his own, and I think, sometimes drawing well has actually looked good on paper and has probably worked against him. He's probably not the sort of horse that wants to hustle and bustle right from the word go, but coming from a bad draw, he can certainly put himself into a race if he needs to mid-race and fight on quite strong, and also, coming off the pace if it's a truly run race. As was like the Chariots of Fire and the Miracle Mile, probably some of his best performances. He hit the line very, very powerfully.
You've been here a week, you came on Thursday, you're staying at Stonewall Stud, it's great facilities there. What have you done with them in that week? Obviously, have you given him a serious run in the last 5 to 6 days, and just see where he is? Yeah,
both boys had a really good hit out on Saturday. The team at Stonewall Stud, they've been fantastic and have looked after us incredibly well. So we're extremely appreciative for their efforts to make us feel welcome, and they're doing a terrific job, and pleased to report both horses have settled in super. So last Saturday they had a real strong hit out, and then just did a little bit more pace work on Monday, I think it was, just to keep them ticking along. So they're pretty forward, the boys, and they've travelled well, so no reason to think they're not going to run a great race.
This is his last run in the Mountain Plate where he was a winner, and he came off the speed to win this race. I mean, this field is obviously not as strong as the field that he meets on Friday night, but where do you think he's at the moment, Greg? I mean, he's a Chariots of Fire when he right. I thought the Sunshine Sprint, not normally a leader, but he won that very well in front. Is he pretty much screwed 100% down to where you want to be? And what's your plans after this week? Obviously, you've got challenges like the Auckland Cup, the Taylor Mile, the Messenger. Are you looking to stay on for those 3 events?
Yeah, we are. No, we think the horse is pretty close to the mark at the moment. That run in the Melton Plate was a few weeks ago, and he'd had a little break after his Sydney campaign, so he did need that run. Although he had a good trip in the 1-1, the race wasn't really run to suit. There was pretty slow fractions early, and then they dashed home pretty quick. So he still did a pretty good job to put his head in front on the line, even though it wasn't a big margin. We're quite happy with what he did for where he was at that point in time. So, like I said, he's had a trial and a good hit out since. So we think he's pretty close to the mark. And our plan is to run for the next 2 weeks as well, with the Taylor Mile and Messenger right round the corner. So all going well, both horses will head to those races, and we'll play it by ear then. If everything's going to plan, we may stay on for the Auckland Cup as well. So we're basically taking it run by run.
Absolutely, that's a good month and a half in the North Island. Anyway, let's touch on the veteran, Triple Eight. When I say a veteran, because he's 8 and he's had 21 wins in his career now, and he's probably in the twilight of his career, Greg. But I mean, I think one of his best runs I saw was when he ran 3rd in the Ballarat Cup. I thought it was an outstanding run because there's a lot of Kiwis in that race. What's his form since that Ballarat Cup been like?
Yeah, really good. Probably just prior to that run, the Ballarat Cup, we were sort of starting to think maybe his days at racing at the top end level may nearly be past him, and he must have heard us talking that way, and he's sparked himself back up. His last 4 or 5 runs have been super, and he come from a terrible barrier draw. In his last couple of runs, been back in the field, and I think he settled last in the Ballarat Cup, got a good run through, and beaten the length by Copy That, and Honolulu Bay just grabbed us on the line, which has obviously performed extremely well since too. So it shows that, given the right circumstances, the old boy, he's still got enough spring in his step to say he can compete with horses like he's going to meet on Friday night.
Just touch on him. He is he's a $51 shot, but I mean, he's drawn where he is. What's the best version of him? Is it just going back, following, and hoping to get the right helmet? And there's a lot of pressure in the race. Yeah, pretty much. He's got Chris Alford's one of obviously the greatest drivers that we've seen in our part of the world, and he's no stranger to coming across the ditch, and he's won some top level races over here too. So he needs to plot as cheap a run as possible, and hopefully he can slot in, find a helmet ASAP, and like I said, if he gets the right breaks, we know he'll hit the line strong. Be remiss of me not to talk about Just Believe. You've got the nomination for the Elite Lop. I think that would be a huge thrill for you and your partner as well. I mean, I think we've only had 6 horses down under ever head to the Elite Lop, and only one of them has ever qualified for a race like that. Very good horse, won the Great Southern Star. The initial thoughts and reactions on getting the nomination? Oh, extreme excitement, really. As you say, it doesn't happen every day of the week. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and quite a daunting task, obviously. It's you're well and truly up against it. The travel alone is a major factor, and that all has to go well to make sure your horse is there in its best possible form. And even if you get there and you've travelled 100% well, you're still up against it with the quality of opposition you're going to be taking on. But he's such a wonderful tradesman, this horse. Probably nothing flashy or fancy about him, and it's hard to pinpoint his greatest attribute, really, but he's a winner. He just gets the job done, and he really wants to work with you. He's a lovely horse to deal with, and we're just over the moon that we're getting the opportunity to travel the world and represent Australia. We wish you all the best in that. Talking about trotters, a trotter you know very well that we've got racing on Friday night as an Aussie trotter in Aldebaran Zeus. You've been races with him. Just for the viewers out there, give us a bit of an insight into Aldebaran Zeus. He's a pretty quick horse from what I've seen. He's pretty quick off the gate. He's fast. He's a good short distance horse. Where does he rate in the Australian trotting ranks? Yeah, he's right up there. Especially over the short course, mobiles is really his forte, as we saw with his win in the Hammerhead up in Sydney, where he did beat us with Just Believe. He drew the inside and ran from start to finish, and clocked a 52.5 mile, which is obviously pretty solid going in this part of the world. So very fast horse, very reliable, good gate speed, can come off the speed too. Probably not known for being able to do a lot of mid-race work. But given the right circumstances, I'm sure he can match it with any trotter in the southern hemisphere at the moment for sheer speed. Mate, it's a pleasure having you here. The Aussies went very close last year, BP, with running second. Hopefully this year they can go one spot better, and we can see the best version of Better Eclipse. All right, all the best to you, Greg, and also to Jess as well, with a two-pronged attack coming into this year's Race by Grins with Better Eclipse and also 888. Well, let's get now Mark Purdon perspective on the race coming up tomorrow night.
We do both things. Train horses and fences.
I'm still learning on the fencing. It'll be interesting tomorrow's training, but yes, her work since she's been up here has been good, but it's just a big step up in class, and whether she's just quite ready for it yet, I hope she can go well for us. It's a big step up, but we don't know what to expect, but nevertheless it's just lovely to have her in there. Probably first was a little disappointing, but now that you've had time to sort of digest it and look at the field and how the race could be run, it mightn't work out too bad. A lot will depend what happens in front of them, but if you're on paper, you'd think that Zach Butcher will be trying to cross no matter what early in the race and probably hand up to Copy That. So if that's the case, you know, we'd probably get a reasonable run through and end up reasonably handy. The week before they were just a little bit inconvenienced with Self-Assured getting a check, and then the ramifications coming back on Akuta. So didn't get a good guide that night, but you know, it was a great guide last week in the Flying Stakes, and they've come through that run really well. Take a lot of confidence from their work, and I was really pleased in the week and last week with Self-Assured and likewise with Akuta. You know, a lot will depend what happens early. I think if Copy That got to the front easy, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. But if there's a little bit of pressure applied at some point, well, and just to make him a little bit vulnerable, I think Self-Assured's got a great opportunity and a great chance in how he is at the moment. Really good. Yeah, well, it's a great concept. It's a new concept, and I think last year it created something to really look forward to, and the crowd created on the night, a lot of young people there and a great atmosphere, and it was just great to see, and especially at a country track like Cambridge. So hopefully it'll provide the same this year, and we'll get the great crowd again and that atmosphere, which always makes for great racing. It's, you know, nice to have one and let alone three, so we're pretty lucky.
Yes, a three-pronged attack heading into the Race by Grins. And Craig, we're just going to touch on some of these runners. And I know that you were there last Thursday night, and especially around Self-Assured and Akuta. What were some of the sort of key things you saw from them, as maybe they were parading as before the flying mile went underway?
I was lucky enough to be with the cameraman right down at the starting point where they were parading. And what I did notice was, I thought Akuta would definitely improve a lot off last week's run. He was rather big in condition, like he had definitely come off the run. What I noticed was with Self-Assured was he was just spot on. I haven't seen a horse look so good round at the start of a race. The shine on the coat, he was physically well, he was really alert. Natalie was talking to him and the horse was responding. I just loved the headspace that he was in, BP, and as I said prior to the draw, I thought he was the horse that didn't matter where he drew. Well, he's drawn behind Old Town Road. I think that's actually a positive. So, of the three favourites, he's probably the best value of the three.
All right, well, I guess that Akuta was the one that initial value was at that $11 and punters wanted to swoop on it. What did you take away from that race last week?
Well, I thought it was just a building run. I think he had a little bit of an interrupted run at Auckland. He didn't really get a truly run race. And Mark indicated in his interview with me afterwards, he said, listen, he's better for it. And more racing he does, the better he'll be. He's just going to follow the helmet. He'll follow Self-Assured everywhere. He's a Jules winner on this track. He's a Derby winner. He's just got to step up probably 10% more to get to that Copy That and that Self-Assured level. Mark's indicated in the press during the week he rates them Self-Assured, then Akuta, then No Matter What. And I'm pretty think he's spot on the mark.
Just quickly on No Matter What, barrier number one.
Tricky, very tricky for her, because I wouldn't want to pressure her early. She's a mare that got off on the Oaks, but that's the Oaks. These are the big bangers. They can fire off the gate into 26 quarters. So be interesting what Tony does off the gate, whether he just holds it together and see what she does off the gate, or whether he can put a bit of pressure on her, because I think the first thing they want to do is make sure she gets around safely the first 400 metres. If she settles through the fence, not the worst place to be.
All right, well, let's look at the Mark Purdon runners in the race, and we're going to take a quick break here on the Race by Grins. When we come back, we're going to get the latest around Nicola Cage.
Jess Tubb, she's one of the most dedicated and hardworking person within our industry, and she's building her way up to be one of the best trainers in Australia. She's had the best season on the track so far, with an Inter-Dominion winner and a Great Southern Star winner, and she's building her way up to try and win this Race by Grins with their two favourites, 888 and Eclipse. He's got draw number 7, the visitors draw, but he's one of the most progressive types within this field. He's a Group 1 winner already, he's a Chariots of Fire winner. We know how versatile and tough he is. He's only got 13 wins to his name, but if fireworks go early, he's one of the supers in this race that I think can get up and win. 888, he's drawn barrier number 5, he's got Chris Alford aboard. He's one of the best in the business that we've seen. He's got 151 wins to his name, Chris Alford. So he's got everything going his way, 888. So 21 wins to his name. He's the next Kiwi, so he's not going to be well liked here in this event. But I feel if everything goes his way, he can definitely run aside in this.
Your star in front, Holmes DG, finishing fast, Blight South, maybe the ball over, Blight South doing the best, Blight South's got the cup.
so great this year for the Race by Grins to have such a local flavour, and I'm joined here by Nicholas Cage's trainers Andrew and Lynn Neal. To you both, it's obviously such an achievement to have a horse in this race. You must be pretty excited.
Yeah, no, really excited about it. It's it's a real honour to have him here. Yeah, and hopefully he's going to do Cambridge proud.
You probably weren't wrapped with the draw that he's come up with. This big asset of his is his gate speed, but he was very unlucky here last week, wasn't he? And you could see from the drone footage, he just had absolutely nowhere to go. How has he come through that run?
Yeah, no, he's come through really good. Yeah, you're right. He had no luck in the running and went to the line. I think Matty just let him coast to the line because it was all over at the 400 when the other horse come back on him. He had no options there. So he just didn't persevere too much from there on, but he's come through it real good.
He's a horse you've both always had a lot of time for. He's come through the grades pretty fast, hasn't he? Has he always shown you ability? What's he been like to work with?
Yeah, he's always shown ability, but he hasn't always been the nicest horse to work with. I think we've said quite a few times before, he's tested us both, big, to a great degree. But now he's just come pretty good. He's pretty normal. He's just, this last week, he's just really knows he's good, and his behaviour's just been out of the box, really. So just hope that he can just, cruise along and behind and see what happens,
And a real local flavour with Matthew White driving, who's making a real name for himself both in the driving and training ranks, and also with your slot holders in Barrett Homes.
Yeah, it is a local flavour to the thing and to the race. And Matty, he's been on the horse from the start really. Todd Mitchell drove him in the first race, and he had other commitments after that. And Matty got on, and his good luck, he stayed with him. So that's all good. And and the Barrett Homes team, they're thrilled to have a horse in the race and going around under the Barrett Home flag.
You're both no strangers to winning big races at big odds. What would a big run in the race mean to you from Nicholas Cage?
Oh, well, it means everything. If you can win the first $1 million race in New Zealand, it would be great. I've said before, it's probably a year too soon to be in this class and racing with only having like 12 or 13 lifetime starts. But it's ability-wise, it's not. It's just ring craft. He hasn't had the ring craft as the other horses, and it showed the other night last week where he got pushed down onto the fence at the crucial time when he just didn't quite keep up when the pace went on, and then he picked it up and he was charging over the top of them. So it's just his race manners, which is getting better every start, but that's where we're at right now.
Well, all the best, team, and yeah, certainly great to have the locals involved. Nicholas Cage going around for the Neals.
Well, Flight South, well, they bring back some memory Wales. There were not many people that were on Flight South because they paid 100 plus. And look, it'll cause a boil over if Nicholas Cage can do something.
Well, similar type of things. Can lightning strike twice, BP? That's what you've got to ask. I mean, Flight South was given no chance in the Auckland Cup. Got a lovely run through the fence. Well, Nicholas Cage has probably got to get the run for the fence anyway, at the very best. $51 shot, very good beating. Copy that, and Akuta 3 starts ago, but kind of the wheels have fallen off since then. I know they had a bit of a respiratory infection. They've been battling that, Andrew Neal saying. So let's hope we see the best version. I still think mentally, he's only a kid. He's having start number 14. He's a bit like Old Town Road, who's having start 19. They're the new kids on the block versus the old bangers that have been there and done that. So we'll see what happens.
And look, different circumstances there too. That horse drew well, the others went back. I mean, they were building towards this race. I mean, that was just a completely different race.
Oh, absolutely. They were preying on a draw that didn't eventuate. I mean, his best forte was to have a barrier 2, 3 or 4 to go forward, get on the marker pegs, and even if he's 12 months away, take the shortcuts, BP. Well, he's going to take the shortcuts here, but he's probably 2 spots further back than he wants to be.
Right, let's have a look at a market once again for you for the Race by Grins, and this is how things set up with no matter what. In barrier 1 at $41, Smithy's Terror, who was the emergency, $51, Old Town Road, $3.30. Copy that, $2.30. BD Joe sits at the $21 mark. You've got the Australians, 41 for Better Eclipse, 888 at $51, Kango $41, Nicholas Cage drawn 1. The front second line at $51. Self-Assured $4.20. There's been good nibbles at that price. And then Akuta at $7.50. What do you think will happen, Craig? I mean, we were trying to get something out of Zachary Butcher. Just talk about what you think will happen in terms of off the gate. What does Zach do? Does he Does he possibly try and test copy that for a certain period and then hand up?
I think I know what he'll do. He won't tell me. He said he slept in the spare bedroom last night in case he talked in his sleep. He didn't want anyone to know. But what he's going to do is, I guarantee he crosses the one. That's plan A.
Yeah.
I think he'll let copy that go if he gets there early enough. If he doesn't get there early enough and a BD Joe happen to swish across them, well, then he's just going to take that plan out and move to plan B. But I think copy that's the more likely one to hand to, and the one he's more happy that gets there first because he's not handing. And I think the best version of Old Town Road BP that I've seen is when he can follow a hot speed and get one run at them. He had to burn very hard last week, 26.3 the first quarter, and he just wasn't ready for that. But I think he'll be stronger this week, and he won't have to burn that hard just to sit in the trail.
Yeah, all right, okay. Yeah, he just could be that mystery horse in the race, I think, and maybe worth a specky, as I said, in those power play markets and those sort of different avenues around BD Joe. Let's see what the team are liking. First of all, Nicole Sims. We'll see what Nicole's picking for this year's Race by Grins, and she has gone with Self-Assured to beat Akuta, Copy That, and Better Eclipse thrown there for the Australian angle, finishing into that 4th position. What about for you, Wale?
Well, I can only go on what I've seen. I've only had one bet prior to the draw, and it was Self-Assured, and that was because of I thought he wasn't crucially had to draw a good draw. I think 450, 420. I think he'll close around $4. He's peaking at the right time. He's a New Zealand Cup winner. He's a free-for-all winner from Barrier 7. He won the Grins from Barrier 8, and he won last week's race from Barrier 8. He doesn't have to have a front row draw to win, and he's just got a master driver. Got to remember, BP, Nellie's back in the cart for 4 drives in the last 3 months. There's no ring rust there.
No, certainly. Right. I'm torn between sort of Copy That and Old Town Road, and look, it's hard to go past really the 4 big bangers that we saw as the 4 favourites leading in pre-barrier draw with Self-Assured and Akuta. Maybe they're the ones that are finishing late. And BD Joe, as I said, I keep coming back to that BD Joe sort of top 5, top 6. Look into all those different markets on tab.co.nz. Big thanks to our guests that have joined us here in the studio. Of course, we've had Zachary Butcher, Steve Telfer, Greg Sugars, also out of Cambridge Raceway. Big thanks to David Branch and to Anna Donnelly and all the team that have been able to bring you the pictures. And of course, you, big man, looking forward to seeing you on track tomorrow.
I want to give a big thanks out to our production crew too as well. It's a big part of this show to get everything on time, get everyone at the right place. To Jason Patterson and the team that have put this a lot work into this. Congratulations to them, and looking forward to the race on Friday. Understand 4,000 tickets sold, 1,000 to go. Big concert after the last BP. It's going to be a big night.
Oh, I can't wait to see your moves as well after the last race. Craig Thompson and even Jason Patterson, our producer, got a shout out. That is the Race by Grins. Look forward to the race. Can't wait for it out of Cambridge tomorrow night.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We are just one day out from the 2023 $1 million The Race by Grins, New Zealand's only slot race. The excitement is palpable and the stakes have never been higher. The defending champion.
Self-Assured, the champ has already proven himself on this exact stage this time last year, winning the very first The Race by Grins for SENZ. But no doubt, he has one eye on his old mate.
Copy That, the New Zealand pacing champion who missed out on last year's race, and he's looking to make up for lost time with New Zealand's best reinsman, Blair Nathan Orange.
And he's done it!
And let's not forget about
Old Town Road, Akuta and BD Joe. These young guns try to go from the hunter to the hunted. Once again, the Aussies have set their sights on Cambridge with 2 Group 1 winners.
Better Eclipse and Triple Eight. They're horses that will be driven by the champions of our sport, and mark my words, the Kiwis will know we are here.
And we cannot forget about the only female in the race, no matter what, who absolutely ran her rivals into the ground in the Group 1 New Zealand Oaks.
It's been daring from Olivia Thornley, but she's pulled it off.
If Kango and Nicolas Cage do the unthinkable, Cambridge better brace itself for a party that could last until the 2024 running of the race. The slots are filled, the talking's done. It's time to find your second winner of the $1 Million Race by Grins.